Hey guys, welcome back to our second deck tech review in the So You Think You Can Cast contest. Now the last time we done the blue-green mill deck, it was kind of a budget-friendly deck, and according to some of the comments, you guys were wanting a look like a more serious tournament deck, so we decided to go to the extreme. We went with the most expensive deck we could find in Standard. Now, I'm going to start out with the lands we got. We got 2 Copperline Gorges in here. We've got 2 Keswick Wolf Runs. We got a bunch of forest. I'm not going to count them out for you. We got some mountains, and we got a play set of the Rootbound Crags. Now, just because this deck needs a little more mana, we've got some Birds of Paradise, and we've got Land of War Elves. Now, this deck is really mana intensive. The spells get really expensive in it, and we want to do a lot of damage with all the expos that's in this deck. Next, we come to our Strangleroot Geist. This guy's really great. Most people, I know, play a majority of decks that's got green in it. And the next card we got is the Huntsmaster of the Fells. This guy will do the majority of your damage. He's going to gain you life. He's just a great card advantage in general. We've got the Wolfer Avenger. He comes in with Flash, Regeneration, and your 3 toughness. He's going to do multiple things for you in this deck that you're just going to really love this guy. Now, one of the cards that to me is a little lackluster is the Silverheart. He doesn't make creatures bigger and can win you games with the Birds of Paradise in play, but a lot of times he just doesn't do much for me when he comes out because he'll either get killed or they'll kill me in combat to kill the other creature that you had pumped up anyway. Let's go back here to the spell suits. We've got Pillars of Flame. This will go ahead and take care of a lot of zombie decks that are really popular right now. It's also going to knock off Birds of Paradise and other things in most of the other decks that try to ramp out mana. We got 4 Bonfire of the Damned because we decided this deck needed $200 more put into it. No, really, this is just a great card in general. You can do, I mean, even with 1 damage, a lot of times you can really set your opponent back if they're relying on mana dorks. The next spell we got is the Devil's Play. Devil's Play, some people like it, some people don't. I kind of like it in this deck because the ability to flash it back late in the game has really come in if a control deck is able to stabilize. We got the Sword of War and Peace since there's a lot of red decks running around, plus white. This really gets through a lot of things. The extra damage is great. The life gain comes in sometimes, but really it's just the extra damage that you're pushing through and the ability to make your creatures unblockable. Hellrider, this guy does a lot of things. He makes your Birds of Paradise deal damage. He don't have to attack to do damage, and the fact that he comes in with haste is really great too. The last guy on the list here of our dudes is probably I think one of the really broken cards besides Bonfire and Standard right now. For 5 mana, you get a 5/5 flyer that taps things down and has haste. Is a little too good, Wizards. But since it's that good, we're going to play with it anyway. And if you'll notice, most of the creatures in this deck have haste anyway, so you're not wasting any time on getting most of your damage through. Now let's move up here to the sideboard. Sideboard, we've got 2 Garrets. You're going to bring these in against things that just want to kill all your creatures, or you can't keep no creatures on the board. These are really going to help, and plus it's going to help you find your Thundermaw Hellkites when you want to go ahead and sack a creature once you're down flipped over. You're going to bring these guys in against the majority of most creature decks. The ability to take out 2 creatures is really good, especially if you're not wasting any time on getting your creatures blocked. You're consistently pumping in damage. Next, we got the Phyrexian Metamorphs. Really great for copying just weird things like your swords. But mostly we got it in here to take out stupid creatures that have hexproof that just can't be targeted. Zealous Conscripts. This is another really great card, and it's got haste as well, so it fits in with the deck. And usually I replace the Silverhearts with this, and this is going to come in against the mirror match, so I can go ahead and take their best creatures and just beat them down with it. So if they go Hellkite before you, or you play the Hellkite and then they play theirs, just popping this out next turn is going to put so much damage on the board. 13 damage is a lot to come back from. For those zombie decks, we got the additional Pillar of Flames to come in. You can also bring these in against creature decks. Next, we've got our Ancient Grudges, and these are going to come in mostly against decks with swords. Just random things can come up with artifacts sometimes, but most of these are in here to make sure that our opponents can't play their own swords. Now, the 2 questionable cards in the deck are mainstays that we've had because at one point we didn't have the Bonfires, so we actually brought this in against some of the decks. It's one of the cards I'll definitely be cutting. And I'll also be definitely cutting this Devil's Play because I don't think we need an additional X spell. And against anything that isn't control, I usually switch out the bonfires and switch in something else. We've got a couple matches recorded for you guys, so we'll go ahead and we'll switch over to that.
Okay, here is the match between me and John Barnes. John Barnes is going to be playing the blue-green poison deck, and we've lost match 1 due to some technical issues, but I ended up pulling that one out barely. John had me at 8 poison, and I pushed for the final points of damage. So he leads out with the Hinterland Harbor, and I'll drop the Copperline Gorge into play and play the Birds of Paradise. She quickly responds to with the Gut Shot, which is the optimal play there. We both are playing the game where we want to slow each other down. The Ink Moth is really bad against this deck. Since we don't have no instant removal right now, we're not going to be able to race that thing. So this is probably going to turn out to be a loss. I think at this point in the game I was deciding on exactly what I wanted to play there. I thought about going ahead and just killing this creature, but I kind of want to put some damage on the board. So it was between a Strangleroot Geist and an Arc Trail. So I went ahead with the Strangleroot Geist, just go ahead and get some damage in there, because I'm feeling like this Ink Moth Nexus is already going to be pretty hard for me to beat anyway. So he gets to untap. Out it's going to come a Rancor. That's not good, so we're automatically sucking up 3 points of poison. Let's see what we can draw here. Like I said, I don't think we're going to be able to outrun that Ink Moth back there. It's just a little too hard. He has to activate during his turn for any hope of killing it off. So we'll just play some blockers. The real problem is that Rancor is going to help get all the poison damage through too, so definitely not going well. Bonfire probably about the only way it's going to help me right now, and I'm going to have to draw it this coming turn and block. But he plays the Titanic Growth, so he's going to keep his creature around. I'm going to soak up a lot of the poison. So he's got me dead on board because he's got the Ink Moth. So no matter what I draw here, he's got me next turn. The only real way to beat this deck is you got to make. They gotta not have the Ink Moth Nexus for one, but you gotta use every one of your spells on your turn to force them to waste their pump spells to keep their creatures alive. Because the poison deck has so few creatures in it anyway that just knocking off 1 or 2 of them, as long as they don't have the Ink Moth out, can be pretty hard for them to overcome. So you pretty much gotta get them to burn all their kill spells right there. So it looks like he's got this game because I didn't draw. There was nothing I could have drawn anyway. So we'll scoop them up. We'll go to the deciding game 3. Luckily, I get to go first, so that helps out a bunch. So we're getting ready to head into game 3 here. Getting everything shuffled up. We shuffled. I've cut out all the random stuff between it. I didn't think it was important. Didn't make any more sideboard changes. I left everything the way it was in game 2. I'll lead out with the Birds of Paradise, which will quickly get mental misstepped. So it's kind of like we shocked him, but he set us back a whole turn. So the elf comes out. Now what we're going to want to do here is try to at least kill this off or make him burn all his pump spells. So we're going to get the first one, going to pass it back to him. So that's 1 creature down for him. So as long as you don't get an Ink Moth, we're okay. So it brings out another one. That's fine too. What we need to do is we need to either kill it or we're going to force him to play that pump spell. And there's that. We're going to deal 1 to it, 2 to him. Unfortunately, he does that, which I still get to do the 2 to him. And that's fine. It makes the spell actually fizzle, but the 2 for the Phyrexian mana will work just the same. Unfortunately, he does have the creature out still. and go in there and ping us for 1. So the fact that he ain't playing any kind of pump spells means that he is definitely going to be on the defensive. So we play the bonfire out for 1, just enough to kill it. And as I said, he's on the defensive. You have to go ahead and pay that. He's going to take 1 damage, so we're still doing good. We're still doing damage to him, and he's only hitting us for 1 poison at a time. So that's pretty good. We can kind of race that. Out comes Hell Rider, getting in there for 4. So we're dropping his life pretty quickly here. Just have to hope he doesn't have a big explosive hand. He just like pukes all over the board and poison me everywhere. So he's just going to get in there for 1. Now, this is the part in the game where I kind of was trying to calculate exactly how much damage he could possibly do to me next turn, because I've seen people completely wiped out by this poison deck, and I have a Hell Rider in hand, so this is definitely a misplay. I noticed it the second that it happened, and I was worried about calculating up all the damage that could possibly happen to me, that I failed to put the extra Hell Rider in play, which I was going to use as a blocker anyway, but it would allow me to have done 5 damage to him. So, definite huge misplay there. I can't remember exactly what else was in my hand at the time, but the Hell Rider was really the only thing I was thinking about playing, mostly because it could last through a gut shot, and it could be mental misstepped. I don't think he has any other removal in his deck besides that, so we'll go ahead and play the second Hell Rider, which is definitely the wrong play. Should have played it first just for the extra point of damage, because you never know how much that 1 point of damage is going to be. So he's going to untap here, and we're going to see just how much he can do to me, because he's pretty much got to win here. So he's calculating all that he can possibly do, and he's probably thinking about what he'll have to do if he can't get enough through this turn. So he's going to lead out with Rancor, which gives him enough to automatically kill the Hell Rider once I block with it. Now he's got to figure out a way to get 7 more points of poison over top of that, which is possible. I mean, he could have mutagenic growth, and titanic growth. That's definitely enough to get it done. Let's see. Can't really tell what he's got. I can see some mutagenic growth in his hand now that the video's turning that way just a little bit. Let's see how he leads off with here. He's attacking. He does have 2 mutagenic growths, enough to get 4 through to me. Can live with that. He's at 7, so I'm definitely going to need some kind of removal here. I believe it was Arc Trail is what I have in my hand. See what happens here. Yep. So go ahead and target him with the Arc Trail. 1 to him, 2 to Barnes, which is really weird because Barnes went ahead and played the mutagenic growth there, which knocked him down to 3 after the 2 damage he takes from the Arc Trail, and then the 4 from that. That's game.